Hi, this is Shilpa here. So today we're going to look at another interesting function in the HomeoQuest software, which is remedy analysis. So to get to remedy analysis, we enter that tab. Now this is a beautiful, very deep function and feature of the software where you can compare and study different remedies or remedy groups, and you can learn and understand the subtle differences between the leading remedies when you are basically trying to make the final decision for your prescription. So basically you can create reverse Mitra Medicas, you can do comparative Mitra Medica searches, you can learn about therapeutics Mitra Medica, you can classify and understand remedies as groups, as kingdoms, as sub-kingdoms. So basically the amount of data that you can access in this single screen is amazing. Okay, so we are going to do today, there are two different versions to this. One's the simple one and one's the advanced one. So today we're going to learn about the simple analysis options, all right, and which is selected by default. And we have about 4 different types of options. We have combined, common, contrast, and unique. And I'm going to really go into the depth of each one so you can get the best out of this tool, all right. So we start first with the combined version, the combined option. Now, basically, the combined option is, for me, it's learning about a remedy and extracting the reverse Mitra Medica of a remedy. And I'll tell you where I basically use this. I use this to learn about remedies, rare, obscure remedies, which might not be something that you would have learned in school, or they might not be very well represented in the Mitra Medica, and you want to understand a lot more detail about this remedy, right? Now, one of the remedies I really learned through this function is Piper Metasticum. Some of you might have seen my cases on it. It's like a beautiful remedy, but this was the tool that I used to learn about it. And I'll tell you how. So if you look at Piper Metasticum in the Mitra Medica, I've opened here Piper Met, and you see it is present in Allen's Encyclopedia and Boricki, Clark in Fadex. So not a lot of Mitra Medica, and when you read about this remedy, so let's try in Fadex, and you see there's hardly any information. It's an intoxicant, produces liveliness, inclination to do more work, and better by diverting attention or changing topic. If you read in Boricki, you see again it's an intoxicant. It's produced by kava. It's a silent, drowsy character with incoherent dreams and loss of muscular power. If you read in Clark, a lot of clinical symptoms there. Not many people have used it a lot, but again, as you read a bit more and you go further, this drug causes a feeling of buoyancy, as if every nerve was strung to a high pitch, feels he can work without fatigue, but it's quickly followed by a tired brain fag, and oversensitiveness. So you see, it's like an intoxicant. It creates a sort of excitement, and you can do a lot of work, but you get fatigued very easily. And Alan, a lot of information there, but it's like it creates a drunkenness, but everyone says it's like an agreeable excitement affording support against great fatigue. So you can work without feeling tired, but then you completely lose it and you go into this really drowsy state where you cannot wake up because you're too tired. So that's what it does, and that's what you get from the Mitra Medica. Now let's look at remedy analysis, and let's look at the fine tuning. Okay, so to select a remedy, this column is where you type in the remedy abbreviation. So we were looking for Piper, and look at that. If you type PIP, the first few letters of that, you will see some options there, and we're looking at this one, which is Piper Metasticum. So you just click on that, and that remedy gets added here to the selected group. If you want to remove a remedy, all you say is clear, or just click on this cross here. If there are lots of remedies, you say clear, so it clears up this entire group of selected remedies. All right, and I'm going to use the combined option, and we're going to say analyze. Now before we go there, I'm also going to use a repertory filter here, let's try and use a repertory filter, and I have already selected here. By default you can select all repertories, but this time I'm going to select only the old masters text, from the old masters. So I'm going to remove Jeremy's and complete repertory, and just to make sure that we use from the hidden masters, and we say analyze. When we do that, what we get is the reverse mathematica of Piper from the old masters. All right, and look at the first symptom here, quite interesting, from Ken's repertory: amusement, desire for. Okay, then there's a lot of cheerfulness. We go down, there's a lot of dullness, there's a lot of excitement. Look at this: loathing of life, but entertainment ameliorates. Okay, so now you see a new flavor to this need to be drunk and feel excited. There is a very specific need to feel, to have amusement and to be entertained, which is interesting. And then let's go further, and we see fear of suffering, so they don't want to, look at suffering. And then what you see, as much as there is indolence, there is also a lot of industriousness. And as you go below, occupation ameliorates. So you see, this person needs to be constantly engaged into some sort of entertainment, amusement, some sort of fun activity all the time. They're happy and lively and moody, and all this is a part of their state. And thinking of their complaints aggravate, which means they don't want to think about their problems. They want to completely have fun. Have fun, be entertained, be amused, and just party. That is the state of Piper mate, which is very, very interesting. So they want to think of something else. They don't want to think of life and reality and what's going on in their lives. And this is what I've also confirmed in my clinical work. And it's a very interesting remedy. I've used it in a lot of cases with migraines. So, sometimes that's what I do with these remedies. Now, I'm learning about Piper mate, and you can see how variations come up when you start looking at individual symptoms. So these are all the symptoms of Piper mate. They've come from the Kens. In all the sections of Kens, they'll come from, every repertory where Piper mate is present. So we have lots of Kenton rubrics, but we will also have rubrics from other repertories as well as we move. Now, what I would do here is, because I've used Piper mate a lot in, headaches, I'm going to check the head symptoms of Piper mate. So you see, now what I'm going to do is I'm filtering only the head symptoms of Piper mate. And this is important because this is what I call a therapeutic mathematica. So I'm going to analyze this, and now you are going to get only the head symptoms of Piper mate here. So you can fine tune and learn about what sort of headaches come up. So you can see there is a lot of constriction, a lot of congestion, a lot of fullness, okay, and a lump-like sensation and heaviness. So quite some interesting headaches. But look at some modalities which really help you. Mental exertion helps, which is a peculiar rubric, right? Headaches after sexual excesses. But look at this: thinking of any pain aggravates. I've used Piper mate in a person who had migraines and who was extremely sensitive to pain, and thinking of painful problems and issues in his life where he had lost his daughter. So this was the rubric that really helped me. So can you see how very interesting, you get so many beautiful variations. Diversion of mind, headaches better by diversion. You don't want to think about it. When you start thinking about some happy things in your life, you get better, and so on. So it's like you can study those remedies and study those symptoms in such great detail by looking at these fine-tuning points from every repertory which you want to choose from. And that's the beauty. Look at that, Clark Clinical. This is not the Ken's repertory. You have head enlarged sensation of, so bursting, enlarged. This is a very strong, peculiar part of the headache in Piper mate, that you feel it is full and it's going to burst. That's so important. And then, vessels of the brain are full. And this is a very important, this is Robert's sensations, as if it's a lump in your head. And this is a typical sort of bursting migraine which people get when they need Piper mate. So hope that helps. This is the combined feature that we are looking at. So next we look at the common option. All right, so I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to clear off Pipomet, and I'm going to also clear this off. Delete and delete the search. All right, and now we're looking at the common. Now this is the option I use when I'm studying closely related remedies which come up in my final prescriptions, okay, final repertorial analysis. So say for example, the other day I was working with Magenta mentoring people, and we were looking at a lady who required a snake remedy, okay, and she had lachesis come up very strongly in the repertorization, which is common, but there were a few other things, snakes, which were very, very close, but they never obviously pop up very strongly. And one of them was Crotalus cascavella, and another one was Cenchrys. Okay, so in this case, I'm not going to eliminate these two remedies because they might never come up topmost because they're less represented in the Mathemedica and the repertorization process. But because they came up strongly, we wanted to check them whether they covered some key symptoms and just fall short of dominating the grid, right? So I'm going to use the remedy analysis here, and we are going to compare these two very interesting remedies, snake remedies. One is Crotalus, so I'm going to put Crot, and we are looking at Crotalus cascavella. So this remedy selected, and the other one I'm going to select is Cenchrys. Okay, and so these are two snake remedies, and I'm going to I want to understand the fine-tuning things between these two remedies. And you see, you can select as many remedies as you want, and of course lachesis, how can I forget that? So lachesis came up as well. So we want to see if there are things in what are the things. So when you use the common symptom, what you get is you get the common symptoms for all these three remedies. And so I just say analyze, and there you go. You have the common symptoms for Crotalus, cascavella, Cenchrys, and lachesis. And look at that. You have people behind him, someone is. So they constantly feel that someone's, behind them, someone's out to get them. So, they are in danger. They might be harmed. So this is very important. All the three snakes have this. So you can't, say one is better than the other. The other thing, they see visions of, images and specters and things that they see in the dark. So spirits and ghosts. So all three snakes have this state. They hear voices. That's not there. All three snakes, Cenchrys, Crotalus, lachesis, have this. What else? Difficulty in speech. Again, all three snakes have it. Dryness of the mouth, dryness of the cough. So if you are, anxiety in the heart region of, look at that. Cenchrys is more stronger than even lachesis here. Swelling of the legs. If somebody is going to congestive cardiac failure and going into swelling of the legs or fainting, all these are present in all three snakes. Again, headaches. Again, you can't sort of rule out one or the other. So as you see, these are the things when this lady had all this. She thought there were people, she dreamt of them at night, she thought she was in danger, she was fearful that she could hear their voices, there were visions, there was a question mark whether she was schizophrenic, and she was having mental instability, and there was a lot of anxiety. She had dryness of her mouth, and with that expression, so there was a lot of fear and terror and feeling of being harmed, and all these snakes have this at some point or the other. So this is what you understand, and when you learn about these remedies and when you're starting to look at that. Now the another very important analysis option that I do along with the common aspect is the contrasting. Now, as you realize, in common, you get the symptoms that are common to all three snakes. All right. Now, in the contrasting option, you're going to get symptoms that are present in one but not in the other two. So you get the fine tuning. And this is a wonderful tool for me to now make a decision on what to prescribe for this lady. Okay. So let's use the contrasting option and see what happens. Now, look at that. This is very interesting. When you have a lot of anger and vexation which have created an issue, you have lachesis, but not cenchrys and not crotalis. All right, look at this amusement, desire for. We saw that in Pipermed as well, right? So it's also there in lachesis. So lachesis is very fun loving, very amusing, very entertaining, loquacious, talks about stories. No wonder lachesis is. So if you see the state coming up, it's definitely lachesis, not crotalis and cenchrys. Okay, a fun loving personality. And if you want to read where it comes from in the Kent's repertoire, you can just click on that, and only 2 remedies, lachesis and pipermethysticum. Let's go back and see what else comes up. Look at this. If there is anxiety in the evening, then we fine tune. Okay, you know there is generalized anxiety. All 3 snakes have anxiety. But if that anxiety is more in the evening, it's cenchrys. If it's more in the morning or at night, it's lachesis. Can you see how different that is? Okay, then what else? If you have anxiety fever during, if there is anxiety only during fever, you have lachesis. Cenchrys and crotalis, cascavella do not have it. So, there are so many very small interesting things. Company desire for, it's cenchrys, but company aversion to, wants to be, wants solitude and wants to indulge in their own fancy. That's lachesis. Okay, now this lady had basically come to us with thyroid issues. All right, so I want to check which of these 3 remedies have a very strong affinity for the thyroid. So we're still keeping on the contrasting feature, and we're going to now put the word filter thyroid. So we know that we are ensuring that we have remedies which cover the thyroid issues. All right, and we want to make sure that we give that remedy. And look at that. Constriction of the thyroid gland is crotalis cascavella. Lachesis has sensitiveness of the cartilage, not necessarily the gland. But look at that. Goiter, crotalis cascavella. Affections of the thyroid gland, crotalis cascavella. As if a string tied around her thyroid, crotalis cascavella. So this is wonderful, because now you know if there is a lady with thyroid who shows lachesis-like symptoms, but thyroid is the main affinity, I would rather give that person crotalis cascavella, because it has a much stronger affinity for the gland than lachesis. Are you with me here? This is the beauty of using a contrasting function, and this is how you can fine-tune the final remedies and fine-tune the final prescriptions with your repertoires, and that's the best part of using a database. So never underestimate. Remedy analysis is a must-do when you are making that final prescription. And finally, we're looking at the unique. Now the unique is a wonderful tool to understand the unique PQRS rubrics of your selected remedies. All right, so say for example we still are with these 3 remedies, crotalis, cascavella, cenchrys and lachesis, and I start looking at, and we remove the thyroid, and we look at the unique remedies, the unique symptoms. So what you find here is, if you have thoughts of alone when death, so somebody who has thoughts of death only when alone, there is only 1 remedy, and that's crotalis cascavella. You want to check that? Click on the name of the repertoire, and you land up in that repertoire, and look at that. There's only 1 remedy there, crotalis cascavella. Go back to remedy comparison and look at here. Fear that she'll be sent to a mental asylum, or delusion that she will be sent to, only remedy cenchrys. How interesting is that? That's it. So this is a beautiful place to now start fine-tuning. So if I have a snake patient who has fear and anxiety that she's going to lose it and be sent to a mental asylum, I'll go and actually give cenchrys rather than say, even if lachesis come up high up in that picture. Okay, so that's very interesting. What else? Poisoned. Very suspicious that she's being poisoned. It's only lachesis. No other remedy of that delusion. What are the interesting symptoms you have? Industriousness in the evening. Only 1 remedy, lachesis. Insanity alternating with menstrual symptoms. metrorrhagia, only one remedy, Crotalus cascovella, and so on. I mean, there is no limit to the number of different comparisons of analysis that you can do through this tool. So I absolutely encourage you to play with this, use it. We'll be doing more on this. I'm going to go and work on the advanced, create a video on the advanced function in the next tutorial. But and that's it. It will take your group analysis understanding completely to the next level. But right now, the simple one is absolutely beautiful when you're doing your final remedy differentiation from the grid. So have a play with it and let me know your thoughts. Take care.